Hello everyone, I'm your host Betty. Thanks for listening in today. We're going to be talking about Outlander Episode 6, The Garrison Commander. But before we get into all of that, I want to talk about something. I've decided to change it up a little bit. This will be my last back-to-back episode about Outlander. So starting Monday, I'm going to do The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Then Wednesdays, I'm going to cover Men in Kilts. And then on Fridays, I am going to continue with Outlander. That's just to change up the subject a little bit and make it more interesting. And when I get to the 8th episode of Outlander, I'm going to do Sam Heughan's new movie, SAS Red Notice. So some discussions about the previous episode. When I was talking about the herb that Claire gave Ned Gowan for his breathing, I said it backwards. It's called applethorn, not thorn apple. And it was the redcoats that hit the village that Dougal gave the people the grain and food instead of making them give him payments. And the reverend that's helping Frank do research on his ancestry. His name is Reverend Wakefield. And he's actually pretty important in the future because he, of course, y'all all know he's Roger's stepfather. So, yeah, that's some stuff I probably missed in the previous episode. And so let's just get on to the discussion of this episode. The synopsis I have written here, it says, Claire and Dougal are questioned at the local garrison, and Dougal is treated with hostility and disdain by the British occupiers. Claire lets down her guard, but her headstrong opinions get her into trouble again, and she discovers the true nature of Black Jack Randall when left alone with him. So, yeah, Black Jack Randall is just a vile person. But anyway, let's get into the discussion. This episode starts off right where we left off in the last episode. And one thing that I haven't called attention to since I started doing these podcasts, the title cards. You know, when it's coming on. After the theme music and everything, and then when it comes in and it says the name of the episode and Ronald D. Moore's name and based on the books by Diana Gabaldon, those title scenes, they are so creative with those. This one starts out with they show a red coat and a hat hanging on a chair, and then it goes to the window and it shows the razor and a watch. So I thought that was really creative. All of them have been really creative in the past and in the future too. So anyway, I never did call attention to that little detail. But anyway, let's get back into the episode. So it starts off right where it left off in the last episode, where the redcoats are asking Claire if she's in any danger. And she tells them no, she is a guest of the Clan Mackenzie, like Dougal has been saying. So she confirms what Dougal says, because she doesn't want to cause anybody any trouble, I'm sure. But the man there is still insistent that she go and talk to her to his commander, and so I get they go with him. Dougal is insistent that he goes with them to keep an eye on her, of course, and so they go and they're riding towards to there, and the voiceover that Claire does says that she finally felt like she was with her people. Even though they, and she's in a different time period, she still felt, finally that she felt like she was with, her own, familiarity with the, redcoats. Then they arrive at the village, and, Claire, says that she feels like Dougal probably understands, what it feels like to be an Outlander. Even though he's on Scottish land, Mackenzie land, even. He probably has been feeling what she's been feeling for, the last few, I think it's been weeks, since she's gone through the stones. So, yeah, it's kind of, the tables are turned between Dougal and herself. So he's in the enemy territory, so he's probably feeling like the Outlander and the outcast. So, and we will see here in a minute when they go to speak to the commander, just how unwelcome they make him feel. So they go into this room where the commander is there, and they're all real welcoming to Claire. Then the commander wants to know who Dougal is, of course, and he introduces himself, and this guy is so rude to Dougal, saying that he can't understand what he says, and I thought Dougal right here was, really being really noble right here, and the redcoats were being very, very mean to him, and it really bothered me. So I'm going to confess right now, before we go any further, I struggled to do this podcast about this episode, and it's really hard because I don't like Blackjack Randall. I don't like any of this. I don't like the way they treated, Dougal, and it was a really hard episode to get through, and I don't know how I'm going to get through the last 2 episodes of this season. If anybody knows, y'all know what I'm talking about. So it's going to be hard. But anyways, back to this episode. They were being really hateful and rude to Dougal, and then I think the commander starts saying stuff like he could be a laird, he could get used to this life because his soldiers move faster than most of his servants, and but he starts to ask Dougal, what's underneath your kilt, and Dougal actually, right here, I loved this scene because Dougal actually made this guy feel stupid. So, it bothers me that, when they're making, treating Dougal poorly right here, but, Dougal gives it as good as he gets it, so I know a lot of people, I want to take a minute here and talk about Dougal. I know that a lot of people don't really like Dougal because of the way he treats Claire sometimes, and he tries to hit on her and do things, and I get that, he shouldn't do that, especially after she gets married to Jamie. But these first few episodes, Dougal hasn't done too much to make you feel, make you hate him, and he never really does. Maybe I'm forgetting what happens in future episodes, but for right now, I'm loving the character Dougal. I mean, I love that actor Graham McTavish. He's a brilliant actor, and so yeah, I love Dougal. So anyways, so after the question about the kilt and all of that, Claire steps in and gets the men to stop fighting amongst each other, and then the commander tells Dougal that there's no room for him to sit at the table, so he excuses himself and he goes downstairs and leaves Claire with them, and she's telling them her story and all of this, and then the worst thing that could ever happen in this episode happens. Blackjack Randall comes in the door, and of course, Claire thinks, for a minute. I mean, right before that happens, she thinks that she's, on her way to getting back to the stones. And she probably would have been if Blackjack Randall hadn't have come in that door. So, anyways, so when he comes in, and the commander tells him to brush himself off because he's filthy from writing and stuff, and Blackjack Randall's trying to tell him that Dougal Mackenzie is right downstairs, and